All right, Coach Zeigler. Here we are. This is the first time I've ever been here. And man, I'm having a blast.
Great.
It's like the middle of nowhere. You've been here how long?
30 years.
30 years. We're in Powell, Wyoming, which is northern Wyoming. Northwest.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been here 30 years. What brought you to this program 30 years ago?
I graduated UNC from graduate school, and I was an assistant coach for 3 years under Coach Jack Mon. And I had started looking for jobs, wanted a head coaching job, and this junior college job popped up. I actually started in junior college at Labette Junior College way back when in 1984. And so I thought, well, that's a nice level to get going. And so I applied for the job, got an interview, drove up here from Greeley, Colorado, and just kept going and going and going. I'm going, am I going to fall off the edge of the earth? And got here, and the hospitality was great. Fell in love with the place, and went home, and they offered me the job. As soon as I got back to Greeley, I was walking into the house and walked in. The phone was ringing, and so I walked in. I picked up the phone. It was Coach Rocklitz, our athletic director, former athletic director here, retired. And Ken said, "Jim, hey, you made it home okay?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I did." And I said, "I really enjoyed my visit. Thank you. I appreciate everything." And he said, "Well, Jim," he says, "we've already met as a committee, and we'd like to offer you." And I said, "I'll take it." Before I could even get it out, because I just wanted a head coaching job, and I'd been wrestling my whole life. Been on an academic calendar all the way through school, coaching after that, and straight into grad school coaching. So
one of the things you mentioned was this is a good start. It's
Yeah.
30 years later.
Yeah.
So were you intending on, nobody knows what their future is. Their intention was maybe you were going to do this for a little bit and see
5
where
years.
it took you.
I was 5-year plan, and then after 5 years, the program, from everything I'd done from the beginning, is just starting to have my name tagged to it, and I felt like it was something that was mine, and I'm like, I'm not quite done doing what I want to do. I'm not quite there yet. I need to stay a little longer. I need to do this, and so I just kept staying, and on my 11th year, we won a national title finally. We'd gotten trophies already, and had been in the top 10 every year but my first year. But in 2004, we won a national title, and that was really probably my best opportunity to exit, and I just couldn't do it. I just felt too attached, and I already dug in my roots here, and felt like this was my home and my home base, and I felt like the program was attached to me, and I was attached to it, and our names went simultaneous, at the same time, and so I stayed with it.
There's a certain maybe stigma, maybe it's just me, about junior college.
Mm-hmm.
Stepping stone, passing through, you've got new athletes every 2-3 years, yourself that you're dealing with. And maybe that is a stigma that's carrying over into a coaching role.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think you get from being here in a junior college program for 30 years now that maybe you wouldn't have to deal with at a Division 1, 2, 3 school? Is there something besides just roots and comfort and all that? Is there something that you think you've got here that maybe?
Yeah, there's something more to it. For one thing, at this level, you do everything. You do everything as a coach. Administratively, we do everything in terms of our budget, our travel arrangements, our workouts, our training, our dietetics, everything that we do. They have assistants and staff that can do those things. I do eligibility, compliance, everything. And so you end up, as a coaching experience at this level, at the junior college, you get a lot of opportunities to really manage an entire program from top to bottom, everything that's involved. So it's a great place to learn. And, you go to Division I, you have assistants to do certain things for you. Run workouts for you, and you assign some administrative duties or things. No, it's a one-man show when you come into this, and I liked that aspect of it. I thought it made me a more rounded coach. I thought I connected better. It's me out there talking to the faculty. It's me at the study halls. It's all the things that go on that. It's me that's doing the fundraising and out in the community and running the community service projects. And so it's a full job and very fulfilling. So that part of it's very different and in some ways more challenging than the next level. The other thing I think junior college coaches, the same thing that the athletes are looking to get out of this, they come to a junior college to get discovered or to mature, to develop, to all those things. As a coach, I think there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction to be involved in that process. And when you start seeing those changes right before your eyes, and you see kids, and just when you start getting them where you want them after a 2-year period, or sometimes a 3, they're moving on to the next thing, and you think I was a big part of that. And then they're still in contact with me when they're at UNI, when they're at American University, when they're at University of Oklahoma, different places that the kids been, University of Wyoming, so forth. And those kids continue to be in contact. And I said, hey, this is a place where I really feel like I make a difference, where I am making a bigger difference for, at least for me, I'm making a bigger difference at this level than I would at a pressure-packed Division I level where the actual winning results are more important in terms of wins and losses. And I feel like in all the coaches know it, the young coaches know it, the older coaches know it, that winning is important, but it's the bigger process that's the most important thing. And I think here you really get a sense of that bigger process of watching the growth, the development, the maturity, and watching a young man walk out of your program after they've been through your teachings. So
you mentioned the success of maybe moving on to a Division I school and a couple of names there, but really, we also talked earlier here about these wrestlers being adults, being done with their college careers and coming back to the community and still being involved in the program. That's got to be fulfilling as well.
Oh, absolutely. I follow these guys, through their graduation on to the next level and through their graduation. I've officiated weddings and been at baptisms and everything you can imagine with these guys. I've been a part of their lives and they're part of my family. So, I've got several young men that I'm still very close with. I've got an attorney who's a former wrestler. I've got 2 doctors and an orthopedic and an ER doctor. And you've got these guys. Like yesterday I was able to call and get a prescription from a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my kids. Call him, hey, and able to get that taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool. Get legal advice. These kids, when the words NIL popped up, which I saw it coming, and as soon as that hit, and it was actually Jimmy Kimmel's show that called, and they said, hey, we'd like to get some NIL money in their pocket, blah, blah, blah. I went, representation. Called Bernie Dupuis. He's one of my former kids. He's an attorney in New Orleans.
Mm.
And Bernie, hey, we need an agent here to work this. He immediately talked to his boss, got time off to get registered and as an agent in Louisiana and in Wyoming. And he's been working a lot of NIL deals with these kids and helping them out. But they had legal representation immediately and contracts and disclosures for the school and set and running. And so we're learning things, but
somebody that you trust.
Yeah,
that's from the program. I trust,
somebody that's been through this program.
Yep.
Came back here, did his internship with the law office here, and assisted me. And we finished second in the nation in 2014 when he was my assistant coach. So, yeah, there's family out there, and seeing these kids get to that level is just incredible. Talk
to me about opportunity in the sense of maybe recruiting, maybe kids you're looking for, maybe again, kind of going back to the stigma, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but there's a certain
what's there.
What are you looking for?
Well, I started this a long time ago, and I learned a ton from Jack Mon when I was in graduate school and coaching with him, and from my former coach Doug Moses as well. But Jack was really good about knowing how to communicate and relate with the community, knowing how to build a program that was respectable. One, he said, make it to where they can't do without you. And so from the very beginning, I decided that we needed to have not a niche, but an identity of who we are and who we were recruiting. And back in those days, there was a clearinghouse, and a lot of kids were Prop 48s, and you're seeing guys like TJ Williams, for example. that are just these incredible athletes, Daniel Cormier, that are coming in that hadn't made it through their clearinghouse and were going to junior colleges. But when I go to high school national tournament, and a lot of the coaches are all together, and JUCO coaches, they're chasing after these guys. These guys are blue chip recruits. They're not going to go Division I. They can bring that guy and get him into their program. I probably should have hustled after some of those guys a little more, but I felt like if they weren't in as a part of our identity, the kind of kids that we have exactly, and we've stuck with small town kids, medium-sized towns that have one high school, they're rural kids that I feel are going to be comfortable in our community. They're going to fit into our program. They're going to be able to tolerate and put up with me, and the little details that I ask for on every little thing. Kids that have jobs in the summer. I talk to these kids. What are your chores? What do you do at home? What's your role on your team at home? And the parents look at them and go, "We'll tell him. Do you feed animals? Do you take care of siblings? Do you take care of grandparents? Do you work for your parents? Do you mow the lawn? What do you do? And that's an important question when I have a kid in here, because I'm going to demand those things of them. They're going to be working here and doing things that advance our program and advance their cause in the process. So
there's no better example than the Bear Attack 4.
Yeah.
Whatever we want to call them, they're in spotlight right now. There's no better example of that. I'm completely blown away by their maturity to the situation. But I think that's a testament to what you're saying. Those are the type of kids that you want in this program. And it really just came out at the most, during a tragedy, basically.
Those young men, they're accountable. They're accountable for their actions and what they do, and they feel accountable to each other. And if one of them's in trouble, the other one's not going to walk away. And I think that just kind of naturally came from a process of holding yourself accountable at all times for who you represent, the kind of lifestyle that you're going to lead, the kind of person that you want to be. We're here to be better dads. We're here to be better employees, better neighbors, better community members. And all the things that we learn as coaches through the years, through our training, through school, you learn those things. But when you see those things at work, and you see those guys that graduate and move on, and you officiate their wedding, and you see him become this quality husband that treats his wife well, takes care of his family, that's watch him relate with their children and see what good fathers they are, what great employees they are, then you've succeeded. So it's not just something that we say, it's something you have to live and believe in. And if you do those things, your wrestlers are going to be good. They're going to learn in a system. I'm here to continue the things that the parents started them on, the path that they started them on, to make sure that we're not getting off of that path. Parents that have raised their kids to be a certain way and have certain expectations of them. In some cases, kids haven't achieved that level of maturity, so their parents are handing them off to me to help get them to that place that they intend for them to go. And it's important, and I take those things very seriously.
Are you shocked at all about how these guys had each other's back during this whole ordeal?
You never know what you're going to do in that situation. Right. I mean, I could sit here and say, hey, if my best buddy was getting attacked by a bear, I'd jump him too. But you don't know.
Right.
You just never know till you're in that situation. So knowing these young men, knowing the character, knowing how they care about each other, I'm not surprised that they did that. I'm really not. I think the whole wrestling community has raised their sons and daughters to be people of courage, people of integrity, people of accountability. And that's one thing that wrestling teaches better than any other sport. And humility. It's hard to go out and wrestle. It takes courage to go out in the center of the mat. I mean, the first time it happened to me was on the school playground in the first grade. Back in early 1970s, it wasn't anything for all the kids to gather around a kid to have a fight in the middle of the playground. And everybody's watching. There's a lot of fear involved. It's like, if I lose this, I can't come to school tomorrow. How am I going to face the humility? And there's something that comes out in me and wants to compete for that. And I think that wrestling, not to teach that of fighting or anything, but wrestling brings that out in us. In a tough situation, we feel like we have to step up to the moment. And I think that's what happened with these guys. It's stepped up to a moment. I mean, how many times have we seen wrestlers that have been in situations and their buddy gets in a situation and they don't hesitate to jump in?
Yep.
Some of them not the best situations and some of them self-imposed. But here's an example of a situation that when your buddy jumped in, he saved your life. And
Actually
it
took
matters.
the brunt of the beating,
Yeah,
right? Kendall
he took
Kendall
the
could have
beating.
ran.
He took the beating.
He took the beating instead. How'd the tone change in the room after this?
It was humble. The kids, I guess it was an awakening because as young men, these guys are young and they're naive about some things in the world. And I think when a tragedy like that strikes so close to home, and I've been through them here in a 30-year period, you can imagine. We had a death on the team last year. So these couple of them have already experienced losing a teammate. I just feel like they step up at that moment and that it made our team closer. It made our team more appreciative of the opportunities that we have, of the friendships that we've built, and how that can help you in life, and how you have to earn that. You have to earn friendship. You have to earn trust. You have to earn respect. And wrestling is truth in that sense, that when you come into a wrestling room, you can talk a big game and everything else, but the truth always comes out upstairs in that wrestling room. You can't tell everybody you're all this and all that if you can't back it up. So I think there's humility involved in that. And I think the kids were really humble about what had happened to them and grateful to be alive, grateful to be together, and grateful for the things that kept them alive.
Switch gears on you. Let's talk about wrestling a little bit more. The program itself, as we mentioned, you've been here for a long time. A lot of history in this program. What are your expectations for your team this year? And what are you wanting to get out of these guys? Moving away from the incident, let's just get back and let's wrestle a little bit. What are your expectations?
Well, actually, the expectations go to what happened on that mountain. And as I mentioned to our team afterwards, I said, those guys represent us and a standard that we ask from you every day in this program. We don't ask you to jump on a bear's back, but we do demand accountability, responsibility, protecting each other, working hard together as a unit and a team. And all the things that we work on as a team were representative in that incident on the mountain. And I said, hey, we know what the standard is that we expect. Train hard, work hard, take care of your body, compete hard, study hard, do all the things that you need to do to be successful in life. And, now other people outside see in us, and they have taken this event, they being, the general public and people that are very interested in what happened. I think they're looking and going, wow, they hold those guys to a high standard or whatever. And so with more eyes being honest, I think you just need to be more aware of your pursuit of excellence and not to fall off track of that, and know that there are people watching you. And so my expectation of the year is, I want to compete hard. We've come off a couple of hard years with COVID. We are a storied program, maybe in a smaller area or smaller unit, but we've made national noise. We've won championships, and I think we're pretty well respected in the wrestling community. But I find out that a lot of the younger kids don't know about us or don't know about me or our program, and they're hearing about it for the first time. And it kind of surprises me sometimes in this mountain region, but I think it's time for us to get a little more out there a little bit. And that's my fault. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more reserved, and I stay out of the limelight. I take the kids that want to be here. I don't recruit as hard as I used to. I don't chase kids. I don't talk the lingo. I'm an older man. And so it's different. But they know when they come here on campus, they sit in my office, they sit across and look me in the eye, and they know they hear truth, and the parents hear truth. And I'm not selling something that's going to be a lot of fun, but I'm selling something that'll stay with you the rest of your life and that'll help you be successful. So the kids that aren't afraid of that, aren't looking to just go have a good time in college, kids that aren't afraid of that, want to work, do chores, have responsibility, be accountable, they're at home here. And those are the kids we're going to keep going after.
It shows in the culture that you have, I can tell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
What's next on the schedule?
We head to Great Falls on the road tomorrow. University of Providence in Great Falls NAI school. MSU Northern will be there. Snow College, new community college out of Utah is going to be there. Eastern Oregon. They bring in kids, people from the East as well. I think. Trying to think Division II schools have been there. Well, they brought Indiana Tech in.
Okay.
They brought,
Yeah.
we see people that we don't ordinarily see. So
Okay.
we'll have a couple of duels on Friday, and then some of the kids will compete in the tournament on Saturday.
All right. Coach, I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful drive to get here.
Thanks.
And
It's a beautiful part of the world.
yeah, it really is. It really is. You got something special here. You got a special group of kids. Shouldn't always take a tragic event to shine a light, but my hope is that there's kids out there that see what you're doing here, and they you provide them with an opportunity to come be a part of this family.
We'd love to have some of those tough blue-collar kids from Ohio that want to come out here and be in the mountains and be a part of what we're doing here. We'll give them a great education on and off the mat.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.